Hello, Foxview students, and welcome to the LMC Makerspace, which is kind of this area over here. So we're going to be taking a tour of this section and giving you an idea of the different things that are available for you to learn with and experience with during the course of your time here at Foxview. So this is really meant to just give you a brief overview of what's available, and when you come down during your workshops, which will be on a rotation, you'll have an opportunity to really dive in, learn more about these tools, and really get creative with them. So let's begin. We're going to start over here with our laptop. We have a lot of things that we could do with this. We do have video editing and a few other programs, but mainly what we use this for is our Kano Pixel Kit. So it's this little Lightboard right here that you can program to show whatever it is that you want. In this case, this is a student-created fire program. Now, it's pretty simple to do that. We'll have the Kano software up, and you can just go in and either follow one of the challenges, which I highly recommend if you're just getting started, or you can go in and make a new creation right away. If you've done any kind of block-based coding like Scratch or the Hour of Code, you'll likely be very familiar with how this works. But basically, you'll be pulling blocks out from the left, and it'll interact with either the live view on the right or the actual device itself as you start to pull things together. So there's a few different options. These ones allow you to make a text scroller. If you wanted to, this one would show text, but I would need to create it first. And it shows up on here. So it's really cool to play around with and see what you can make the Lightboard do. As we move to the right, we have our 3D printer. Right now, this is the one that we'll be using. It's actually works pretty cool. And you'll be creating things that we print. So we don't print anything except for student-created items. How do you do that? Well, either on your own or when you are down here for your Makerspace time, you'll be using a website called Tinkercad that you can use with your Google accounts. You'll just sign in using these social providers, and log in with your Google account. And then once in, you'll be able to use three-dimensional shapes, combine them to eventually create what it is that you want to print. It takes a little getting used to, but it's really pretty simple to make something cool that you can print and take home with you. Every student gets to print one thing every year. So that's Tinkercad. The other thing we have plugged in here is something called the Adafruit Circuit Playground Express, which is a really neat circuit which has a lot of sensors on it that you can code and interact with. So that's off a website called MakeCode. And the editor, once again, is block-based stuff, but it's a little different how this one works. When you set up your code, you'll get the preview on the left of what it'll look like, and it can make noises, it can respond to a ton of inputs. I love these things. But when you're ready, you have to download it, and then once it downloads, it kind of walks you through what you need to do. You just have to drag this file into the folder for the circuit. So if you see it over here, it's a C play boot. You just drag the file over, and then when you do that, it loads onto the circuit, and then what you created shows up. And it was a really basic one. There's a lot more you can do with that, but I was able to do that very quickly. All right, moving along to the right here, we have our Kano kits. These use the Raspberry Pi computer, which is this little tiny computer, and they have some really neat software on here. So there's a lot of different programming apps like Scratch you might be familiar with, but there's some things where you can interact with games, like you can take Pong and you can edit it the way you want it to. Of course, there is Minecraft, which I know is popular, so this is a really basic version of Minecraft, but you can use code to interact with it. So here's one of the things you can do. You can very quickly write your name using whatever blocks that you want. So I'm just going to grab out this right, to say, hello, Foxview. And then wood's kind of boring. We all know the type of material we really want is TNT. So using this mouse, or this keyboard, the mouse is on the right and the clicks are on the bottom left. So just remember that. It's a little quirky. Then when you're ready to go, you just hit Tab. And then to use it, I just press C. And there is my message, except it kind of got knocked off the end of the world. So it just says, "Low Foxview." Moving on to the right, another program on here that's pretty neat is one called Make Art. So once again with this one, you'll be using code to make different pieces of art. You can either follow along with some of their tutorials, or you can jump in and create your own using block-based coding. So you've got these hints up top. It says, make the background a solid color. So it's easiest to start by just following what they say until you get comfortable, and then you can go from there. Moving down further, we have our snap circuits, which are simple electronics that you can build, and we have one specific for arcades and then one that has more general projects. And it's a really good introduction to circuits and how electricity flows and works in a safe way. It is a really simple circuit that's a switch, and all I have to do is hit the switch and the light goes on. That's what's going on inside your walls at home, except it's not batteries, it's very high power electricity that's coursing through there. So this is kind of a fun way to experience that. All right, back over here to the middle table, we have a few different things for you to interact with. One of my favorites is the Sphero spectrums. So this app here uses these rings to interact with color to play music. So you've got this mat to start with. But it also uses any color, and it'll match it close, so you can play on anything, which is really neat. So enjoy those. You can walk the iPad around, play on the books in the library, whatever you want to do with that. We also have a puzzle. We do have an Ozobot, which you may be familiar with. And then another popular one is Gravity Maze, which does have a set of puzzles you can follow, or you can create your own. And how this works is you stack these towers together, and the goal is to drop the marble in one tower, and ideally have it end up in the red one. Obviously, I need to fix something with the way I set mine up. So next, we're going to go take a look at our Lego Mindstorms robot, which is over here. You can control this with either that laptop or with this iPad here. There's a simple app to control it with. It's connected through Bluetooth. You might have to get it connected when you start. So we can pull up just any old program here that we have started, and essentially be using blocks to control the motors on here to tell it what to do. When I go to play this, it's going to say, well, I'm not connected. So then I'm going to want to make sure that we connect on the device. Bluetooth is on. So we're going to connect. It's going to show up here, and then it'll work. So now when we press play, send them here. And there we go. So it moved its arm, moved a little bit. Pretty basic program. I know you can do more than that. Moving to the right, we have our Bloxels. And Bloxels it's weird with that plural. It's an app that you can use to scan these blocks and have it go into your own game. So it's a little B app. And then when you open it up, get kind of the game view when it starts. All right, so then we're actually going to go to the game builder. And then in here, you can either build a new game or you can use existing games. When you go to an existing game, you've got this whole tapestry to add to. So I would highly recommend just keep adding to the same ones so you can have multiple levels. And then you can just tap on it, and then you tap on this camera, and that's what allows you to scan to capture the board. Sometimes it's better than other times, and you can do some basic adjustments to try and get it to look the way you want it to. And if it doesn't like it, you can always go in, you can manually add your own blocks, and then you hit the play button to test it out. Oh, well, that one needs some work. All right, over to the right we have our Turnin Tumble. So this is a marble run. It does come with some different puzzles you can create, up to 60, I believe. But essentially it's kind of mimicking how a computer works and send messages. But it's also very addictive and satisfying. Really how it works, you just hit that button and you set up these gears, of which there are many, and it lets go a marble when it hits this. So it's kind of a cool little connected tool that I hope you really enjoy. Last thing out here I want to bring your attention to is our iMac. We do have some different programs on here we can talk more about later, but the main one that students like is Kerbal Space Program. In this game you build rockets and you fly them and you try and get them into space and into orbit and eventually onto the moon and other planets. So it's a really cool game that has really true physics for the most part when it comes to how spaceflight actually works. So if you love space and you want to play around with rocketry, there is no better game than this. Over on the left here, behind that, we have our wall of random stuff, as I like to call it, very scientific name. Lots of things for you to tinker and build with. Brain flakes are awesome. They're these little interconnected discs that you can create different designs with. We have a lot of stuff for making Hot Wheels racetracks, which often get built up right through here. We have Legos, we have cardboard, we have pencils and markers, we have some pieces for building with cardboard, like these saws, which are great for cutting cardboard and not you. The ball of wax, which is a really cool magnetic ball that you can move these pieces and kind of connect them to each other and just see what you can make with it. And a few other puzzles and random materials. Oh yeah, and duct tape, who could forget about that. Last but not least, we're going to walk into the office here. Bit of a mess right now, but we're working on it. And this is our green screen. So announcements get recorded here every week, but you'll have the opportunity to come back and make your own green screen videos. So we use an app called Do Ink by Green Screen. It looks like that little squid. And then once you're in here, you can create your own project. And that's pretty simple to make. You just hit the plus sign, hit the camera, and then it's showing out the camera here. The black is what is actually going to be your background. So you can go in and choose an image, and then you can make any image your background. And then you can record your videos through that. All right, and the last thing that I want to mention to you is that you'll also have opportunities besides dropping down during workshop to be in the Makerspace to come during these week-long workshops that we'll have, where 6th graders will be doing a certain project and the 5th graders will have their own project as well that they will be working on for a whole week, which is kind of nice. So if you have any questions about the Makerspace, you can always talk to me or Mrs. Shockley, who will be here in the LMC most of the time. We hope that you really enjoy this space and that you can feel creative. If you ever have any suggestions, always let us know too, but we look forward to having a great year.